I'm Julie.
Hello, I'm Lucy's mum, and welcome to Courting Days in 1950s Britain.
And today we're welcoming my wonderful grandparents on the channel to tell you all about their time in the 1950s. We have Jaye, Baz, Rosemaree and Vron. Hi everyone!
Hello. I'm Jaye.
And I'm Baz. We're Lucy's grandparents on her father's side.
Hello everybody, this is Rosemaree and I'm Julie's mother.
Hello everybody, this is Ron. Julie's my daughter.
And they're all from Norfolk. Where do you live?
The fine city of Norwich.
Norwich, Norfolk, England.
We're from a village called Heacham, which is a few miles from Sandringham. We've been living in Snettisham ever since we've been married 60 odd years ago.
Where did you first meet?
We met in the Prime Ballroom in East Anglia. It's the Samson and Hercules.
Were you having a party?
No, we were just they did regular, what you would call club nights, I suppose now, but there were dancers in those days. It was much more sedate in those days.
And what was your chat up line, Baz?
Would you want to dance?
Would you like to dance with me, please?
Oh, well, that'll do it, won't
Chat.
it?
The please makes it, I think.
I think so, yeah. And what did you think, Jaye, when you saw Baz and when he asked you to dance?
His hands.
Oh.
Can you remember what sort of clothes you were wearing, Jaye, at that time? Didn't you have lovely swishy skirts?
Yes.
In those days, the ladies would always wear a dress. They wouldn't wear trousers like they do nowadays. I would have my best suit on.
Oh, lovely. So, was it love at first sight?
Of course.
Let's say I certainly fancied her.
It was something at first sight.
On the following Monday, after the night that I met her, I was going to move into Norwich Telephone Exchange where she was working. So from that time onwards, we were both working in the same building. We saw each other every day.
Oh.
It was meant to be.
It was fate. And what were you doing at the telephone exchange? You were on the switchboard, I believe.
Yeah.
And what were you doing at the telephone exchange, Baz?
I was an engineering apprentice at the time, so I was just doing my turn in the exchange to get to know a little bit about the exchange.
And to get to know a little bit more about your new girlfriend.
That's right, exactly. Get to know a little bit more about this lady here, yes.
Oh, that's wonderful. And Mum and Dad, how did you meet?
We met at the church fete. I went along with my then boyfriend, who was mad on motorbikes. He went off and left me because he wanted to talk to the lads about his motorbike. Along comes Ronald here.
I said, I asked you the time.
Oh yeah, you asked me the time.
Well, that was a good chat up line. What's the time? Yeah.
And then I said to her, can I stay with you? And she said yes.
You'll laugh at this. One of the main reasons why I liked him is because he was taller than me, and Graham, my then boyfriend, was a bit shorter than me, so that didn't quite fit.
And look, I look better than him anyway.
Well, of course you did. Oh my God. How could you refuse, Mum, despite actually being on a date with your current boyfriend?
That was the boy I used to sit on the school bus with, holding hands. I was at the convent at the time. And if the nuns had seen me, well, I would have been sent to hell. Anyway, when he did eventually come back, I was with him then, nattering away. He was ever so upset because I didn't go back to him. He said he wanted me to go back with him, but I thought it was time I moved on, so I did.
Did you know she was with her boyfriend, Dad?
I don't know whether I did it. I might have known him, I forget now. But when we both went down and he was standing there, of course I was quite bigger than him. So I went up to him like this and he just walked away.
Oh!
He couldn't match me.
No, he couldn't. Well, I'm pleased he didn't, because otherwise
We're both pleased.
we wouldn't be here. So, well done, Dad. Would you say it was love at first sight?
Not love, no. Admiration, perhaps.
Yeah, I was careful what I said to her in case she didn't want me.
Oh, so you were on your best behaviour.
Pity's not like that now, isn't it?
When did you first meet their parents?
A fair while after we first met. We didn't get introduced to the parents straight away. I would think it was at least 3 months.
What impression do you think they got of you?
Well, Jaye only had a mother. Her dad was dead. I don't really think I made much of it. I don't think I made much of an impression with her mother.
Why not? What makes you think that?
Well, when she showed you the door.
I think I was regarded as coming from the wrong side of the tracks.
Oh, right. Okay, so you weren't quite good enough for her wonderful daughter.
She lived in a hall when she was a child, and they had servants and things. Well, I don't come in that category at all.
Yeah. I always knew you were posh, Jaye.
You can't have things like that.
No, you can't. No, they show through, don't they? Shine through. So what impression, Jaye, do you think you made on Baz's parents?
I think they like me already.
They're probably thrilled. She lived in a hall.
You could resist me.
Quite. I bet they were charmed by you.
Oh, I think so.
Took a lot to charm my father.
Oh, I knew your father. I remember something about you, Jaye, putting a green sweater in the wash of Baz's father's. What happened to that?
You think he threw it at
Started that size and finished that size.
Oh no.
Well, I'm sure that took the shine off you a bit.
Yeah, that did.
Okay, Mum and Dad. What impression do you think you made on the other one's parents?
I didn't meet Ron's mother until after we'd been courting a few months, did I? I didn't feel she was friendly, but she wasn't unfriendly, if you know what I mean. I think she didn't quite know what to say to me, did she? And his father was in hospital with cancer. Yeah. So I only saw him a couple of times in hospital. He died before we got married. Then I met his sister, Hilda, who was absolutely different. She could chap the hind leg off a donkey. But we didn't take boyfriends and that to parents until we'd been going out quite a long time. It was so different in those days, and you had to be very careful what you said. You mustn't use a sex word at all. But funny looking back on it, because I mean it was so different then. And my mother said to me, "Don't you bring trouble home," which means do not have a baby out of marriage.
Oh no, that was the ultimate, wasn't it? Shame in those days. One day we went out in Heacham, didn't we? I suppose, didn't we? We'd been to pictures or the pub or something, I can't remember now. We were late back. Mum said I was to be home by 11, and that was 11:30. She was standing at the top of the road, really cross with me. And I thought, what have I done there? She was so worried I was getting into trouble. Oh, that's what she thought you were up to. She probably thought the film was finished ages ago. That's quite late to be out, actually, at that age.
I suppose so. We didn't think anything of it, did we?
Did she say anything to you, Dad?
Well, I mean, that wasn't rough about those years, was it?
No.
You could walk about and feel safe and everything.
She wouldn't talk to you about things like that. She was ever so old-fashioned in that way. But Dad, he you remember him, he was full of laughter, wasn't he? And he used to try upset Mum, didn't he? He used to put his dish on top of a plate, and that annoyed Mother, because you don't do things like that, because she was all for getting things right and doing it properly.
Oh, etiquette, completely, like Victorian style etiquette. You had to be so careful up the table, didn't you? What you couldn't do and what you should do. And
if you were a bit late, you and John were a bit late coming down, we all had to wait for you, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah, well, we were so important, obviously. How did you feel about meeting Mum's mum and Dad then, Dad? Did you feel a bit worried about it?
No, not really. I just kept quiet. I was careful what I said.
Don't say that word.
Oh, yes. When you were going out, did you have to look after younger siblings, or were you forced to go to certain places only by your parents?
We tried to get out on our own. My brother, who was 4 years old at the time, would tag along. I sometimes think it was planned. I think my mother saw him as a 4-year-old chaperone.
Yeah.
And I know, Mum and Dad, the same thing happened with you two.
Oh yes, I had my younger brother. He was rather cute. Once we just walked off and left him a little way. We walked up the road and back again. I didn't do that again. I felt so bad about it. He was totally unconcerned. He couldn't have cared less what we got up to.
So really, he wasn't a very good chaperone, really.
No, he wasn't. Give him a sweetie, he'd be all right. He'd be quiet. There was a road called Lamsey Lane in those days, and it was very rural. There weren't all the houses and shops and everything there are there now. We used to walk down that road a lot because that was always very quiet. And we had our favourite seat there, didn't we?
Yeah, just round the corner again.
And to this day, that's still there. Well, it's a new one, but the spot is still there. And we used to go in there after a bike ride. We'd prop the bikes up,
Yeah.
and nobody else used it, did they?
And have a cuddle.
Oh.
What about you, Jaye and Baz? Did you have a favourite meeting spot?
I think the thing that I enjoyed most, I think I can speak for Jaye as well on this one, is going to the coast at the weekends. Although we had no transport, so we could only go on the train or bike. We could bike there. We used to enjoy going down to Yarmouth, Cromer, Sheringham, Felixstowe. We used to go to Felixstowe quite a bit. But as far as meeting in the city, I suppose really the only thing we had in those days was the cinema. When there was about 10 cinemas in Norwich, we had a good choice. I used to spend a lot of time in Brandon, and the cinema there, the back seats were double seats.
Oh, nice.
They opened a new cinema near us in Cossey called the Ritz. That was a most unsuitable name because it was a real flea pit. We went there on the opening night and the film was Sabu the Elephant Boy.
So what about you, Mum and Dad?
I know their favourite movie.
Oh, do you?
I think so. Calamity Jane.
We saw that the other day. That was on the telly. At the town hall at Heacham, they used to turn into a cinema at the weekend. So sort of children, these adventure stories and that. I can't remember the names or anything now, but we used to go there quite a bit.
Yeah. And of course we used to go and see Grandma every Wednesday.
Do our rug making.
Rug making. Oh, how sweet.
She used to have gas, and every time you open the door, go out, you smell this gas, very strong.
Oh.
People used to have a lot of gas in the stoves.
There was no SEX there either.
Did you have a car when you were courting?
No, we didn't have our first car until about 1960. We went everywhere by bike or public transport.
So did you have nice new bikes?
She bought my first bike.
Oh, so you knew she was serious then?
Oh yes, it's a lot of money to buy a bike in those days.
Yeah.
Oh, you must have really liked him, Jaye. You didn't want him getting away.
My mother never knew that.
Oh, really?
Oh, you didn't tell your mum?
She'd say you're mad.
I think it's very lovely.
I do, so romantic.
As an apprentice, I didn't earn very much.
It did look a bit silly running beside.
I worked on the harvest field with my dad, and he bought me this bike. I was so proud of it. It was new, wasn't it? But we didn't want to get it scratched. We went nearly everywhere by bike, didn't we? We went to the pub at Sedgeford. I don't use that now. And we used to go there quite a lot because it was not just a pub, that was a little bit like these games that they have. They used to have the penny thing and all that.
When you went out and you didn't have to bring, a sibling with you, did you meet up with other couples or other friends?
The guy who eventually became my best man, he and his girlfriend, we used to go out with them a lot. The war had only been finished about 3 or 4 years. All these places in Eastern Europe where they now send workers to work in the fields, they were all under Russian control, so none of those people could come across. So they used to pay people who worked in civil service, I think it was organised through the civil service. We went and did work on the land. The one I remember mostly was at Sevenoaks in Kent. She went to a couple of years before I did with her friends from the exchange, her girlfriends, and they were picking apples and picking cherries and hop picking and this sort of thing. She said, ever such easy work. We were hoeing spuds.
Oh, wow.
They lay a lot of things on in the evenings, social evenings, and do trips out and that sort of thing. They pay you a small wage, but it was enough of a wage so that on the way back you could stop off in London for 2 or 3 days and spend some time there. And we were there during a thing called the Festival of Britain. I don't know if you've heard of the Festival of Britain. That was 1951, that was.
Yes, I have actually. What was that like?
The thing which we were interested in as youngsters, they had a huge fun fair on Battersea Park, and we spent a lot of time there, and we'd also have a look around the sights of London, and that was our holiday.
We used to go to fairgrounds, didn't we?
Yeah,
At Yarmouth we used to go, didn't we?
yeah. Understanding.
Hunstanton and Mark, we used to go on things at the Mark. One night with the Freddie Kirby, I had a big dinner. Fred come on the roundabout with me. Just as I came off, I sicked all over him. And I was walking home from Mum's late, very late, I suppose about 12, 11 o'clock. Got to the car pit and I heard some noise come, like clop, like that. And there was a horse walking towards Heach. That was frightening. I was right near the car pit.
I'll teach you, it'd be late at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mum and Dad, did you used to help out on the land? Because I know, Mum, your father was a farmer who owned his own farm and fields.
What work I did on the land, I got paid for. I didn't actually give the money to my dad or anything like that. He used to give money to me because he bought my bike and several things. I was still at school, at the convent school in King's Lynn, and I was doing shorthand typing and bookkeeping. I passed my exams and I actually went to work in the building because that's like a shop in King's Lynn.
How old were you?
16, nearly 17.
Oh,
You are 16,
going on 17.
So, Dad, what job were you doing when you met Mum?
I was working at Eden Farm.
For the local squire back in the day.
Sometimes you were there nearly all day and all night, weren't you?
Yeah, I used to work overtime. I used to do lorry work. We had 2 lorries. We used to travel a lot of different places.
You knew you had a good prospect there, Mum, didn't you?
He had potential.
He had potential,
As they
yes.
say.
He had potential. I'm going to ask you ladies, was it always the men who paid when you went out on dates?
Did Granddad pay for you on dates, Nana?
Yes, he did. I can't remember ever paying. I don't think I had them. I had a bit of pocket money, but it was a man's duty to pay for to outings in those days, wasn't it?
What about you, Jaye?
I paid.
Did you?
He didn't have much money at all.
So you not only bought a bike for him, Jay, you also paid to go out. My God, Bash, you were on a good thing, weren't you?
I had to be. I had no other income. My income as an apprentice was very low.
Gosh.
You must have really liked him, Grandma.
She's made up for it since.
Yeah. Did you play any sports? And if so, did your boyfriend, girlfriend go and watch you play sport?
Yeah, I played cricket.
And I used to go along with you, didn't I?
Yeah, I used to go along.
Was he good at
Yeah,
cricket?
he got his name in the paper several times.
Oh, I went to play at King's Lynn one night. The ball hit me slap in the mouth. I had a white jumper on and white trousers. Of course, I say you made a mess of yourself.
Oh no, did you get blood on your nice white cricket clothes?
I had to wash them.
You were a fast bowler, weren't you, Dad?
Yeah,
He wasn't fast enough that time.
didn't bowl them out.
What about Jay and Baz? Did you play any sports or perform at all so the other one came and watched?
I played football. I played football right from sort of 9 and 10-year-old. I was playing football right through until I was about 30. Jaye used to come to the matches occasionally, but she used to like her Saturday afternoon shopping.
Quite right, Grandma.
Absolutely.
I would have done the same thing. No offence, Grandad, I'm sure you were great.
So wonder you had any money for shopping, Jaye, after paying for Baz all the time?